Hey Josh, this is Ron. I'm going to show you a little bit about Unreal Kismet. I'm going to jump into the game here. This is the abandoned base level that I made for a class. And basically what I have set up is a door sequence with, on this little track here. And track animates whenever the door opens and all that good stuff. So, like if I move toward the door opens, you can see the track follows the door movement. When I step away from the door closes, and the track moves in the opposite direction like it should. Oh. Open and close. And open and close. Kind of a simple thing there. That's all handled through Unreal Kismet. So Kismet is located up here, this pretty green K. And if I pop that open, we get this wonderful array of pretty stuff here. Kismet's a visual scripting thing. So instead of having actual code, you kind of have all of these functions that are kind of pre-coded, and they're all logic statements that kind of plug into each other. There's all these wires. It looks like a jumbled mess, but it's really not all that scary. And once you have things labeled, it's easy to figure out what's going on. Alright, so kind of what's going on here is at my level startup, there's a like you see the guide static material. This is on the track, and the actual object is plugged into here. This interp actor 2 is actually connected to that track with the material on it. And each one of these, like this thing here, it says trigger volume because I have an actual volume. If I can pan down just a little bit. Can't find my cursor. Where'd it go? There it is. Where the heck is it? Bear with me, I'm trying to navigate through this mess of things. The waterfall. There it is. Alright, so if you look at this little upper left window, I'm going to close the game window because it's just using up my computer space. We've pretty much seen everything we need to see in that, so. Now it's thinking. It's probably going to crash. Don't blame Unreal. My computer's just, I'm maxed out on my hard drive space, so it's like eating everything. So this jumbled mess, this green thing that I just highlighted, this is a volume. And this pink-purple thing that I'm selecting, if it will select, won't let me. Anyway, this pink-purple thing here, this is the door, or the gate. And then this one is the track with the texture on it. So if I go back into the Kismet setup, it says that the trigger volume is plugged into a few things. Like if I touch it, if I touch the volume, it'll send out a signal to a set material. So this is how I tell the material to respond on the track. This is the object, says material, and it goes into here. It tells you what the material is, its index, and its tags and all that crap. So this should tell the material to perform the opening animation. If it's not touched, like if I'm not inside the collision volume there, it'll go over here and play the reverse of that. It's down here. Okay, that runs off this wire, runs down here. So this would play the closing sequence for the animation. That's for the animated material itself. And then say there's two triggers here. So this has to do with one volume being to open the door and the other one being to close the door. And I have it set up like that because they're team doors and only one is supposed to open for a certain team. But anyway, basically these nodes kind of plug into these logic sequences here. So like if I touch this, it runs over into this animation. This animation says this is blue base gate. This animation tells the that gate, that fence, to actually open. And the play is the opening sequence for the gate, and the reverse of that would be the closing sequence. So if I'm not touching it, it'll close. If I'm touching it, it'll open. Some other logic things in here, like this says get team number. Basically, if you're of the correct team, of any team, if you touch it, it's going to determine whether or not you're on the right team. And it goes through this logic circuit here that does a compare, basically, and says, hey, if you're not on the right team, then you're not getting in, and then it won't work. If you are on the right team, it will open. And right here where it says guide static material, this defaults whenever the animation is completed or aborted, the material doesn't move. So there's a few things hooked up in here, but the basic thing is you don't have to hard code it. So long as you know what you're putting together, you can kind of work through it. What I usually do is I start out with the animation, and then I say, okay, well, I want the door to move. Okay, so what do I need to get the door to move? Well, I need a volume. So I get the volume and I attach it to a trigger. Okay, so what does the trigger do? Well, I need the trigger to open the damn thing when I go near it, and I need it to close when I'm not near it. So that plugs and that plugs. So I don't have to actually type anything out. Kind of handy that way. Sometimes these sequences can get really big, sometimes they're really simple, like this one in the corner here. This little sequence right here, this little sequence right here, it's only 3 little nodes here. So at the beginning of the level, just make sure that the material being applied to the object is a static material, and on this particular object. And I happen to have 2 of these because I have 2 team doors. So each team door has its own sequence set up. If you're interested in the whole matinee, let me go up to the red gate. This is where the red gate is. Matinee is just the animation, the internal animator for Unreal. So, whoa. Kind of get close to the door here. This says, well, I don't know, if you ever had you've probably done animations in Blender, so you're probably familiar with what an animation editor looks like to some degree. But basically it says that I have 2 keyframes. I have a keyframe here at 0 seconds and a keyframe at 2 seconds. So the opening of the door takes about 2 seconds. And I can go ahead and loop through that. Oops. Make sure I'm on the correct thing. I think I'm on the wrong door. Hold on a second. It's so hard to tell where the hell I'm at sometimes. I'll go down to the blue door then. I have so much stuff in my level that it's actually easier to just switch which animation track I'm looking at than it is to actually try to move my camera around. Okay, so I'm on the correct door. Alright, so get this over here so you can see the animation sequence. And if I were to hit play, the door would open. Oops, let me move this way. And I can actually loop this, so it would just loop indefinitely. But this is what handles the internal animation for like doors and all that stuff. If you were to do like animations for characters, you would set that up under the character editor. You usually wouldn't use Matinee for it unless it was like a bot and you needed a bot to do a specific animation. You would actually set that animation up and say inside a Blender, you would port it over to here, and then you would set up a sequence in Matinee and in Kismet to trigger the animation. That's how you would do it. But as far as having your 2D character, I would suggest staving away from using animated textures and just do a flat character. Make a character out of a flat surface and just import them over. Use bones and whatever. It would save you time. I really think it would. You could get whatever color detail you needed on the character. It would be able to animate them, and it would just save you time, I think. There's a game called Lost in Shadow, and if you've ever played it, it kind of has a 2D character in a 3D world. Take a look at it. Go to Google or whatever. So anyway, I'm going to kill this recording before it gets like 9 miles long. But this is kind of how Kismet works on a simple scale anyway. Alright, see you later.